Today on Fix My Oculus, we're going to talk about the Quest 4, why Meta canceled the 2 prototypes, and why the Quest is probably delayed indefinitely. So ever since Meta shelved the Quest 4 prototypes and pivoted toward this thing that they're calling Project Puffin, I've had this question stuck in my head. Why? Why would you do this? Why would Meta, a company that is basically leading in the VR space, not follow the Quest 3 up with a true next-gen device, especially when competitors like Apple and Samsung are pushing their own devices pretty hard? I know the leaked version of the official story, which is that Meta was working on 2 prototypes to potentially be the Quest 4, or 2 different versions of the Quest 4, and those were codenamed Pismo Low and Pismo High. But both of those prototypes got scrapped, and instead we get the leaks and the rumors about Project Puffin, which is a completely different direction. It's more like glasses instead of a VR headset. There's no controllers, and it's got a compute puck instead of doing all the computing internally inside the device. Less gaming, more lightweight mixed reality. And that shift raised some red flags for me because it didn't really feel like a delay. It felt like they were pressing pause on their entire VR roadmap. And as is the case with a lot of things like this, Meta's not really talking about why. I think I might have found something that explains a lot. And even though it's just a theory, I do think that it holds water. Now, to understand it, we have to take a deeper look inside the headsets. Meta's current lineup, which includes the Quest 3 and the 3S, use the Snapdragon XR2 Generation 2 chip. This is Qualcomm's latest mainstream platform. It's good, it's powerful, and it allowed Meta to increase some things like resolution, performance, and provide full color pass-through. So naturally, the next big leap should have been the XR3, right? But here's the thing. The XR3 was already supposed to be released, or at least announced by now. Back in early 2024, Qualcomm had hinted at the fact that they were working on their next-gen platform, which we assumed was the XR3. But nothing ever materialized. So here's my theory. Meta delayed or outright canceled the Quest 4 because they don't have a chip for it. Think about it for a second. If you're Meta, you can't release a Quest 4 that's running on the same chip as the Quest 3S. It would feel like a total half measure, and they would just get raked over the coals for it. And while the Quest 3 does exist as a budget option, they can't position that as next gen because it's still running the XR2 Generation 2 chip. In fact, I think that this whole thing might be the reason that we got the 3S. And it might be the reason why we're not getting a Quest Pro 2, because they are totally bottlenecked by Qualcomm not putting out a new chip.